Hey folks, welcome to the latest episode of Prickly Draws. I am Mr. Prickly, and today we're going to do a bit of a twofer. That's right, this is two drawings in one show. Now the first one I've been wanting to do for some time is my love of 50s B-movies. Oh yeah. Specifically the whole Beauty versus the Beast, the Maiden and the Monster. So here, right now, I'm working on the outline, or I should say the sketch lines, of the beautiful girl, the maiden, the damsel in distress. And now I'm working on the slathering beast, the amorphous, blobby, almost insect-like Lovecraftian horror that she's hoping will just pass her by, will not take any notice of her. Now I'm working on the line art, starting with the face, of course, getting the expression down, getting the cheeks and the eyes especially, capturing the mouth, going on to the hair, and now the clothes. I'm not much for fashion, so I just go with stuff that's simple. I'm doing a little better now with hands. I'm right now working on her arm, going all the way down to her hands. I've spent a little extra time working on hands recently. I have the whiteboard. I'll bring the whiteboard out, and I'll just start practicing hands. The best ones I keep, I photograph them. Now I'm working on the lower half of the costume. Sort of the Daisy Dukes idea. And this isn't going to be a full body. This is going to be above the knee sort of look. The rest of her body will be bathed in shadow. Now we're going on the outline, making sure that there's a distinctiveness between the inside line and the outside line. And now I'm trying my hand once again at some homemade screen tones. Trying to see if I can save a little time with the screen tones as opposed to trying to put in every hatch line, every blend line, etc., etc. I figured on a screen tone that I like. I am now removing all the excess parts, the parts I don't want there. And there, her pants are done. I've made all these tones myself, going through, making the dotted ones, the lined ones. I'm going to be starting on some new patterns, so that way I can get some better textures in the clothing, in the walls. I got a nice pattern. Oh, I found out I just made a mistake. Oh yeah, I accidentally put the wall texture in with the outline. Uh-oh, which means I gotta redraw the outline again. So here I go, redrawing the outline, hopefully not taking as long as I did the last time. Remember, kids, layers. Put everything in layers, and then hit the lock button so that you will lock that layer, and you can't accidentally draw on that layer anymore once you're finished with it. I've done a screen tone for the pants, I've done a screen tone for the shirt, and now I'm doing a screen tone for the belt. The next Barbie the Barbarian comic is going to be done completely in black and white with these screen tones as well as certain other patterns used in lieu of colors, because Barbie has always been a black and white comic and she'll remain a black and white comic, aside of course for certain promotional items, standalone drawings, and of course the cover and back cover. Now I work on the monster. I've always liked the idea of the old 50s B-movie creature, the slug monster, the weird looking insect-like creature. I always liked eye stalks. Things about eye stalks because it's the least humanoid kind of creature you can make. I've also given this thing antennae, kind of like the Dealey Bopper style antennae. I give him a big slug body. And yet I've also given him weird spider-like limbs. So he's got like stabby spider-like limbs and an amorphous slug body. Big, sloppy, toothy lips. But no jaw, no discernible jawline. And the eye stalks that can look in every direction necessary. Here I am working on his outline. I want to give him a mix of a soft body with hardened limbs. I want him to look weird, but not too difficult to draw. This is one of the things that a lot of first-time comic artists and such forget, is that when you're designing a character, you're not just designing it for one drawing. You're designing that character for the purpose of redrawing that character as many times as necessary. If I was to design this character for a full comic, and he's going to be in 15 pages, with at least 3 panels per page that he's going to appear in, well then I better, make something that's simple enough that you can recreate on command. It's the same with animation. I mean, the animation, you've got to learn to be able to redraw that character. That's why in animation, the character is even more simplified. It's just easier for the animators to get it out on the weekly basis. And they don't just have to draw one character, they gotta draw everything. Even if it's a computer-assisted cartoon, you still have to know how to draw, and you gotta know how to draw it fast. Now I'm getting into the nitty-gritty. I'm checking out what kind of ink I can give him. I've heavily inked the limbs. Now I'm trying to figure out what to do for that body. I want him to have a look that says this is not solid, it's kind of squishy and squidgy. I'm going to go through several nibs testing a few things out. And I think I've found it. Yep, I've found it. This is one that has kind of a fuzzy edge to it. Kind of a weird fuzzy edge. And I go deep with the parts that are closest to the ground, and go light with the areas that are going to be away from the ground, of course, to give it the look that this thing has some form to it. But it's a weird, amorphous, squidgy form. And now I'm going to give him some screen tone on the interior of his mouth, just to give that a little bit more of an old school comic book look. Now we're working on the layout of the drawing. I'm now putting it onto the smaller paper, the same one that I used for the other two projects, and I'm working the background in. Now, for the monster and the maiden, they're both on their own group. And I do that so that I can scale and size and position the characters or the creatures to wherever I need them. Because they're not the same size, they're not going to be in the same plane of existence. I created the wall for the girl to hide behind. I have altered its perspective, I've skewed it or slanted it, whichever you wish to say. I'm also making a copy. I realized that I forgot to make a copy of that wall pattern before I gave it perspective, so I'm having to make a copy, reverse the perspective I did, and then do a copy paste so I can have one long wall and use that for the background for the monster. And the idea is like they're like in an alley or something, and she's just hoping that this creature will pass her by. I'm working on shadow, tone, lighting. Here's color. Since I'm doing this all in grayscale, I am spending a lot less time having to figure out what color goes where or what color works with what. With grayscale, I find a lot easier. I used to just use, in the past, 4 or 5 different kinds of gray along with black and white, but now I think I have it almost to 10. I do that because I'm trying to make the characters more definitive and yet at the same time familiar. I'm working on the creature's eyes now. I'm going with a dark eyeball with a white pupil, and the reason for that is because once again, I want this creature to look alien. I want this creature to look inhuman, to look outer worldly, whatever you wish to call it, as possible. Coloring the girl now. This girl's going to be blonde, so I'm going to give her face, her skin tone will be slightly darkened. Making sure I got the ear in there. So she's going to be the tan blonde girl. Do a little extra bits to the alien. Now I'm working on the tonal layers, giving the creatures depth, giving the girl some depth. I'm making sure to keep the shadow in perspective. This is the idea that the light is coming from out of the alley, shining into the alley, which means there's going to be a conal effect. Wherever the shadow is, light must be on the other side, and etc. If you like the drawing, you want to see more, go to my DA page. For more of my projects, such as my comic books, please check me out online Webtoon. And there we have it. We have the finished drawing right then and there. If you like this video, you want to see more, please donate to my Patreon, links in the description below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.